What up, Raffleitos and Raffle Nation? Welcome back to my channel. We have much more alarming developments today. Venezuela has just dispatched warships into Guyana's exclusive economic zone. And has caused the halt of ExxonMobile's seismic explorations in the Stabroek Block.
Oh, this is my day. I'm ready to take it on, come what may.
So this is the problem, guys. This is the problem with having a no confidence vote succeed. What you've done is you've suspended the government, you've destabilized the government, and now our enemies are taking advantage of that situation. Now, this is something the opposition should have anticipated. This is something that should have been part of the calculus in going forward. But clearly, this was not considered by the opposition. And so now we have a situation where Guyana is vulnerable to the exploits and the shenanigans and the mischief of our neighbor Venezuela, right? So this is a serious matter. It's no longer just about my initial assessment, which was that this was revenge for a no confidence vote that removed the previous administration from government after 23 years. This has turned out to be about destabilizing the government and creating a crisis, because it makes our nation vulnerable to mischief. It causes us to lose out economically because obviously Venezuela does not want Guyana to succeed at our oil and gas ventures. So here are a bunch of questions that I'm going to answer concerning this issue. Stay tuned. So guys, this is no longer about kicks and giggles. This is not just a simple no confidence vote. This has destabilized the Guyana government. And so I want to answer a couple of questions. In fact, 3 questions concerning this issue now that I've had a chance to mull over and think about it for 24 hours. So here's the first question. One is, what is the backstory behind Venezuela's behavior? We know it's a territorial claim. They have a claim on the Essequibo part of Guyana's territory. But it's more than that. Recently, the Russians have landed 2 long-range bombers in Venezuela. And the Russians have been considering placing a military base in Cuba, in the Caribbean. So this is an issue that has geopolitical significance. It's now more significant because Guyana is now a major player in oil and gas industry with 5 billion barrels in the ground and now being explored, more perhaps going to be discovered. So the backstory is that Venezuela has an ally in Russia, and Russia has just landed long-range bombers, that is 2 weeks ago, in Venezuela. And so Venezuela feels emboldened. And they have used the crisis created by a no confidence vote in Guyana to make a move onto and into Guyana's exclusive economic zone offshore and cause the halt of exploration for oil by ExxonMobile. This is a national security crisis that Guyana now faces because of the no confidence vote succeeding in Parliament on Friday. Number 2 is, how does Exxon really work? Now, people are telling me, well, we should be fine because Exxon is an American company and Americans will dispatch the Air Force to defend their interests in Exxon. The fact is that Exxon is not a typical company. Exxon is like the puppet master, right? They don't really have any employees on the ground in the ocean in Guyana. they simply use contractors. So they contract the exploration and the drilling and the building of rigs and building of pipelines to subcontractors. And so you have companies like Halliburton and Schlumberger and Noble Energy. Some of these companies are in fact in the previous video I did on the LISA Phase 1 Supplier Development Forum. So if you go back to that video, you'll see who these companies are. So Exxon is not really a company on the ground. It simply uses many contractors. And so it's not that Exxon's employees are at risk or are in danger. It's their subcontractors who are dealing with the risk. So that is point number 2.
She dances in the sunlight so bright, flowers in her hair, and the band is blowing reggae beats double time to the people in the streets.
Guys, thirdly and finally, what should be Guyana's response? How should Guyana respond to the incursion of Venezuelan ships, military vessels, into Guyana's exclusive economic zone? The response has to be military. We have to build a credible military defense force. And so, a lot of people disagree with me on this, but in fact, this is my firm conviction that Guyana will not remain unchallenged until we have a credible military defense force. So we need an air force and we need a navy. We need warships. I'm not saying we need submarines and aircraft carriers at this point, but we do need aircraft. We need jet fighters. We need to be able to strike a Venezuelan vessel from the air or from the ground. We need surface-to-air missiles and preferably mobile missile batteries that can defend against Venezuela's aircraft. So we need anti-aircraft missile batteries. We need credible military infrastructure. So Guyana will not be taken seriously. We cannot depend on our allies. We can't depend on the United Nations. We can't depend on CARICOM. We have to do some things for ourselves, and one of those things is to build a credible defense force, to invest, not even waiting until oil is produced, but to invest in military infrastructure, in military hardware, in jet fighters, in military aircrafts, reconnaissance aircrafts, in military intelligence, in ships that can launch missiles, and a strong defense force. So guys, this is my opinion. This is the situation created, the crisis created by destabilizing the government with a no confidence vote. I'd like to hear what you think. How do you think Guyana should respond to this crisis? Should we allow Venezuela to interrupt our economic growth and our oil and gas industry? The development, the growth and development of our oil and gas industry. In the comments below, tell me what you think about Guyana establishing a strong military presence on the continent of South America. Let me thank you for the overwhelming response to my last video and for the support throughout the year 2018. Happy Christmas, happy holidays, and remember to like and subscribe. Remember, you can support this channel on Patreon and on PayPal. And if you have suggestions for content that you'd like to see from Raphael Vlogs, leave them in the comments below. I've gotten some very good comments from the last video. I think we need to delve into other aspects of the economy, like the sugar industry, and so early in 2019, I will conduct a survey, a review, and perhaps create a documentary on the sugar industry, trying to unearth the method, the reasoning, the logic behind why the sugar industry collapsed and why, in fact, so many sugar estates were closed by the current administration. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe, leave a comment below, let me know what you really feel. And guys, remember to keep it respectful, because everybody has an opinion. It's entitled to share their opinion, but we really need to respect each other in doing so. Later!
She dances in the sunlight so bright, flowers in her hair, and the band is blowing red.